On today's show, a pretty impressive dress rehearsal from your Denver Nuggets, a hard-fought win in preseason, but it still is interesting to get some good takeaways there. We're going to talk about it here next on Locked On Nuggets.
You are Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast, parts of the Locked On Network, your team every day. Thank you so much for making us your first listen here at Locked On Nuggets. Really appreciate the love and support on the show. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Would really appreciate it. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. My name is Ryan Blackburn, host here at Locked On Nuggets, also over at Mile High Sports for the Pickaxe and Roll podcast. He is Matt Moore of the Action Network, of the Denver Dig, Hardwood Paroxysm, the Substack, as well as you're doing some work over at Fansided as well. So everybody make sure to go check out Mile High. Make sure to go check out and support Matt's work over on the writing side. On today's episode, Matt, we're going to get into the preseason win over the Clippers. A pretty impressive performance, I would say, all the way around, and one that felt like a dress rehearsal for the Nuggets, where they played big rotations, they played normal rotations, things that I think that they're going to do a lot of in the regular season. Did you get that same sort of feel? It felt like this was a pretty intense game for both sides.
No, I mean, I won't go that far. I think the intensity was a little bit higher. I think both teams wanted to kind of get a good sense of where they're at from an execution standpoint, but like it's not normal rotations. Yoke played 22 minutes, came out early first quarter for JV. I think both teams, I think that I don't think these teams like each other and they still don't. And they're still kind of like, they know they're going to have to go through each other. I have a lot of like matchup stuff from this that's like really interesting. Like among them is the minute that Brook Lopez signed with the Clippers, I was like, that's going to be a problem. And I think it's going to be a problem. There's a lot of sequences tonight where I was like, that's a problematic matchup for the Nuggets. And he had 15 points tonight. I thought it was interesting. Some of the stuff that they tried defensively, they mixed coverages a little bit. They went heavy zone early, which I thought was interesting. We could talk about that at some point if you want to. I thought it was a good like dress rehearsal, I think is kind of the word for it. I'll even go back. We kind of talk about that with preseason with sports where it's like, this is a dress rehearsal. And like, as someone who has done theater, like a dress rehearsal, like you're trying to do everything as close to what it's going to be like on opening night as possible. And I wouldn't say that this is that. It's more of, it's like the strongest version of a walkthrough of like, you go through all the prep pregame and you go through the execution in game and you're testing concepts and you are trying to kind of like, let's see if this works. Let's see if this works. What kind of shots are we creating? What kind of shots are we allowing? And how are we rebounding and winning the margins? And I think all of those things, I think it was a pretty successful performance.
I would say so. And it's nice. You're never going to get starter minutes in the fourth quarter in these kinds of games. I don't expect that from the Nuggets. I don't expect that from most any team in the preseason heading into the regular season. That's something that like maybe we'll see in the fourth or fifth game, but we'll talk about that in the third segment. I'm going to say no. I do think that the starters, the plus minus doesn't really reflect it. Like Jokic was a -2, Jamal was a -3, Cam -1, Aaron Gordon -1, Christian Brown +9. He continues to shoot the cover off the ball. He looks really good. But I just really like the energy that they played with overall. And I do feel like there is a level of connectivity that you're going to get. And I thought they were generating such great shots through the motion that they're trying to put together. Cam Johnson didn't make as many threes as he probably is going to in the regular season. Nuggets fans are going to go like, oh no, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? That one will normalize, of course. But I just am really impressed with the approach that they had overall for this one. I do think was the best of the three preseason games that we've seen.
Everyone feels really positive about this. Like Matt Brooks felt this way. You felt this way. I haven't checked the VR, but I think maybe they did too. I wasn't negative on this. I was kind of lukewarm. a lot of it is like, I think that they played really well in the second quarter. I think when they kind of like got into the game, and what I think was kind of nice is like second unit kind of gave them a little bit of a boost, which again, like that's what you're hoping for. Like the JV battle with Brooke Lopez was pretty awesome tonight. It's actually like a lot of fun. And it kind of got them going a little bit. And then they also they went away from the switch and went back to man coverage or on ball, and they were able to generate a lot more. Is it okay for me to talk about the zone? Can we do that?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's talk about it.
Okay, I hate it. I hate it with like everything inside me. And I understand that they ran it last year in the playoffs and it worked and it was this magical thing. And I'm telling you, it was a lot more about who was able to hit high leverage shots with various rotations and like margin plays, and not like the zone is this amazing. It's not. The Joker on that corner side is nails on a chalkboard where they kept finding these open corner threes. And I'm just like, the whole thing you have to do is allow fewer corner threes. And you're giving them up every time. Drives me insane. I'm not like, I think if you're looking at like, what do the Nuggets look like in preseason? They look like a contender. They look like a team that's going to take probably the first month to click. But when they click, it's going to be scary season indeed for the rest of the league. Like there's a lot of good teams, and a lot of teams are going to be like that. A lot of teams are going to be scary once they click. Among them are your Denver Nuggets.
Yeah.
But like, I do not think that the zone is a good tactic for this team to run with Jokic on the floor.
It's an interesting take, given that a lot of the reason why they go to the zone is because man defense is not really the best tactic with Jokic when there are specific players that can go at him and target him in space and force him to guard out there. It's a way for everybody. It almost is a little bit more of a relaxing coverage for the Nuggets to guard an area, and each of them have guarding area responsibilities versus guarding a whole bunch of man switching and having to pick and pop and things like that. Like those are, I think, reasonable concerns to have, though, Matt, is because like Denver, like they did get away with it a little bit. Clippers only shot 9 of 37 from three in this game, 24%. You wonder what it looks like against a team like OKC when they shoot 15 of 37 or something of that nature. So these are fair concerns, and I do fully appreciate it. I just tend to look at the process and the way that they got to a lot of those mechanics. And like specifically, they went to the zone a lot of the time with Jokic and Valanciunas on the floor. That's the only reason that Jokic is out on the perimeter in those situations a lot of times. And it's a fair concern. Like, but if they could score 150 points per possession or 150 points per 100 possessions when Jokic and Valanciunas are out there, then it might be worth it.
Yeah. I would like to hear from you who impressed you most tonight and who has impressed you most in preseason.
Christian Braun has impressed me most in preseason. Almost like without a doubt, the player who has impressed me by far the most of anybody.
Confirmation bias.
I thought he did pretty well. Tonight, I mean, look, you're probably not going to like this. I thought that Jokic was really good tonight. There were a couple of possessions where like Zubac gets it down the middle of the paint because he gives up a lane, and there's a couple of passes that whiz by Jokic's ear and things like that. But I really thought in that second quarter that Jokic amped up the running, amped up the pressure, did a whole bunch of things going up and down the floor and making plays on both sides, where he's not just like there was the first three that Cam Johnson hit where Jokic tips the ball out on an offensive rebound and then sees that Cam Johnson's man is out of position, kind of running back into frame. So he calls for the ball on the right wing and then sets a quick DHO for Cam, who obviously reads it perfectly and hits it. That's the advantage of having Cam Johnson. And it got him going. It got him an opportunity in this game to get his first points on the board. And I just think Jokic is in a really good place tonight. I really liked his energy. I really liked the pace at which he played.
He was moving great. Like he was pushing, and when Jokic chooses to turn on the Jets, it's awesome. Like I have in my notes that I have a thing coming up on the dig from these 3 preseason games, and it's like, yeah, I just really haven't liked how Jokic has played. Yeah, he's averaging like 28, 13, and 10 per 36 minutes. because that's just like what he does.
His field goal percentage dropped tonight, by the way. It was at 90%. He only shot 67% today.
I don't know. Like, there's nothing that Joker can do in preseason that's going to impress me. I'm not going to be like, oh man. So it is like nitpicking, and that's most of like where I'm at now with him, where it's like he's such a high standard that I expect so much greatness out of him. And like I try and take the time to marvel at it when he has incredibly awesome games. But for me, it's just so much about this is so easy for him that I want to see the regular season, and that's I don't even want to see, like, I know you're going to get greatness from Jokic, and I know you're going to get it every night, and that should not be lost or taken for granted. But it's also like, I'm not going to be like, who played well tonight was Nikola Jokic in this preseason. Like, it's fine, but I don't have anything to add there.
It often fades into the background in situations like this where we're so focused on the new guys and a whole bunch of different combinations and things like that, that I think it's worth mentioning when he really amps up the effort and shows some good leadership there. So was nice to see. Okay, let's take a break. When we come back, I want to ask Matt about Aaron Gordon, who we kind of disagreed with tonight in terms of some things. But we'll talk about the Jamal Murray stagger, which was the first time they changed up lineups this year, as well as the Jokic and Valanciunas lineups. We'll talk about that next here on Locked On Nuggets. All right, let's talk about Peloton, folks. Peloton is shaping the future of fitness with the brand new Peloton Cross Training Tread Plus, powered by Peloton IQ. It's their most advanced equipment yet, designed to give you real-time guidance and endless ways to move, whether you're running, lifting, or cross-training with your favorite instructors. This is training reimagined. Peloton is built for breakthroughs with tools that help you plan, stay motivated, and reach peak performance. I love how Peloton IQ, the system, it offers real-time strength coaching. It actually tracks your reps, suggests the right weights for you, and corrects your form real-time, making every rep safer and smarter. So let yourself run, lift, flex, and push forward. Explore the new Peloton Cross Training Tread Plus today at onepeloton.com. We'll be right back here on Locked On Nuggets. All right, back at it. Locked On Nuggets, thank you so much for tuning into the show, folks. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Would really, really appreciate it. Matt, let's talk about Aaron Gordon, who actually led the Nuggets in scoring tonight. We kind of differed a little bit in our impressions of him, and that it kind of spawned a conversation between you, Swipa, and I in the group chat in terms of his shooting and the actual ability for him to maintain high-level shot making late in his career like this after kind of being a non-shooter for so much of his career. But I mean, he does look extremely comfortable shooting the basketball tonight. Some of these baskets that he was making were really, really impressive.
Yeah, and I think a lot of this is like he's hit a point in his career where a lot of his offense is just easier than it used to be. He knows how to get to his moves. He knows how to get to his spots, and he can knock those kind of shots down. Like Paul Millsap was a better player at this point in his career than he was when he was 23. Like AG's value early in his career was that he's one of the most athletic human beings on the planet.
Yeah.
And had some ball skills. And now he's a really rounded player. He's become better in all facets. He's worked on his handle. He's worked on his footwork. He's worked on his positioning. Like he's not fading on jumpers. Like it's straight up and down. Like he knows how to get to the shots that he needs to get to. And there's a real comfortability with that. And he's a great passer. And like Katie Wingy was noting like how good his handles are and that they're underrated. And I think she's right. AG's a really complete player at this point in his career. And that's important because I think that the Nuggets need some guys who are really complete, and AG is.
The well-rounded aspect of it is really important to me. It truly is. Like his ability to kind of go from the player that he was in 2023, which was very much around the rim. He's cutting in the short corner. He's like feeding. He's doing like he was very actively just a dunker for a lot of those games where he's grabbing offensive rebounds. He's finishing the finale oop from Murray to Jokic to Gordon and just grabbing a lot of offensive rebounds and doing the dirty work. And now, like, especially later in your career, it does take a toll on you physically. And it's something that I had worried about 2023 and 2024. And his shots, like his actual shot efficiency in 2024, especially in those playoffs, it really struggled. And teams were daring him and daring him and daring him, including in that Minnesota series where he really struggled. He became a better shooter over the course of this, like last summer. And it was nice to see that really translate for this upcoming year. I just hesitate to like put too much stock in like, okay, we are going to get 40+% from Aaron Gordon. Like he's going to be pulling up from three, 28 feet. It's like, you just know you're going to get it every single time. It's so dangerous to play that game. And it does kind of go away from a lot of the detail stuff that he was doing before versus now. Like he's kind of just like a hooper.
Who's going to shoot better from three this season? Christian Brown or Aaron Gordon?
Oh, that's a good question. I would have said Christian Brown, but like he's now starting to take some like real tough catch and shoot jumpers as well. And like he's really amping up the volume there. So I think it'll probably still be AG, but the fact that Denver, like those guys are both going to probably shoot about 40%, whether it's on mid volume or low to mid volume.
Then what's the concern? Like, I mean,
yeah, like fair. Like,
you know, I think the volume thing is an interesting element, and we'll get into this later, that it's annoying, I think, to every fan. But like, this is when we harp on the 3-point stuff, when I harp on it, I don't like the fact that this is it's a shortcut. I don't like that. I don't think the game should be solvable. I blame Steph Curry. But it is. If you just dominate with 3-point volume, that team has to specifically adapt to you, or you're going to lose unless you match them. And that's not fun, and that's annoying, and it's not good basketball, and it breaks the poetry of the game. But it's also a reality. Like I always battle with this, where it's like, there's things I love about the game and I want to speak to that love and that beauty and that truth. And then there's also like, yeah, but I also have to be accurate in my analysis. And my analysis is like, you should take more threes because you can win that way. Like Joe Mazzulla has discovered this, like just take more threes. Their entire plan this year for the Boston Celtics is run and shoot threes. That's it. Doesn't even matter if you get good threes. He used to be like, run, get good threes. Now it's like, just get threes. Doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter. Because it makes up for so much of a difference in your talent level when you do that. So like the volume thing, I hear you on. And I think that your concern is like, is the spacing going to be truncated because they still won't feel like AG's a spacer? But like those threes kill the opponent. Like it kills you when a guy is willing and able to hit those. And AG doesn't record scratch that much. That's the bigger problem, is like, do you record scratch? Christian record scratches quite a bit. Christian gets like in his head a little bit on those pull-up threes.
Hasn't done it this preseason quite yet for Christian. We'll see what happens in a regular season environment and a playoff environment. Obviously, that's way tighter. I will say what I'm more worried about with Aaron is not necessarily the volume. It's that it might go too far the other direction with him. Is that when he starts to become like too over-reliant on the 3-point shot, and not using that amazing athleticism and the physicality that he's always had.
Well, okay, but let me ask you something. Based off of what we saw last year, because I do think this was one of the problems, the Nuggets, on non-Jokic attempts, and I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I know that the analysis is basically like they weren't that great at the rim.
Yeah.
Even like Joker was a little bit off last year. If teams are packing the paint, like, do you want AG playing a style where it's like he's going to mid-range and threes, or do you want him forcing the issue? Because we saw in the playoffs, remember when they tried, I forget who it was, it was like Harden. Like they tried switching littles on him, and he was like, I'm going to dunk on you every time.
Yeah.
I'm either going to get an offensive putback or I'm scoring on the interior. So like AG has it. I think the difference is, do you want him slamming himself against a brick wall just to impose a physicality?
Yeah. Yeah. And the brick wall power forward is what you're talking about, not necessarily like a 6'5" dude. So I agree with that. I totally acknowledge that. And like, again, if Denver is playing for the playoffs, then some of these questions that I have about the regular season may not apply in those situations where, they know how to do it. They know what they're supposed to do. It's just about getting there. So I totally appreciate that. Couple of quick things before we move on. Or actually, no, we'll do one and then talk about the Jokic-Valanciunas minutes in the third segment. Jamal Murray staggered for the first time in this preseason. We had talked about that previously, and we both think that it is the right call, that he is the one who staggers. gives the bench a different look and an extra ball handler, somebody that they could trust to get good shots for everybody. How do you think it looked? How do you think that translated?
Sorry, it broke up on my end. What were you talking?
How do you think Murray looked and the Murray bench stagger looked and translated offensively, defensively?
It's going to be really good. I think it's going to be really good. You know, I was ready for something new, and it's just like, no, like he needs the stagger. I think this is going to be a really good fit for him. I think that Jonas and him, he was running stuff where you could just tell that Jamal looked more comfortable. It's a preseason game. I think Jamal has looked very comfortable in these minutes with Jonas to where it no longer feels like Jamal's trying to figure out, what do I do here? Which was always the case with the DeAndre minutes and the Zeke minutes, and like everybody else is like, what do I do? Like, should I just ISO? Like, maybe I should just ISO. And instead he's like, nope, we're just going to run we're just going to run 2-man game, and I'm going to get a screen, and then I'm going to have space, or I'm going to hit the pocket pass, or I'm going to reverse it. And they have a lot of these mechanisms. Being able to use Jonas both as a post-up weapon, which means Jamal can rest, or being able to use minutes where Jonas is at the top of the key and they're running more motion offense in Jokic-type setups out of the pinch post. To me, this is like so valuable because it's like, look, if your defense makes a mistake in covering Jamal, he can punish you for it. And if you decide we got to stay home on Jamal and stay locked into our principles and maybe take off somewhere else, then that means Jamal gets to rest on that possession. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Like Jamal just not having to like dribble around for 24 seconds and then try and figure something out is huge. So I'm very optimistic at this point about the bench. I'm like a little higher. I'm not saying that they're going to be better. Of course they're not going to be better. The Stars are going to be amazing, but I think the bench is above my expectation for this point in the preseason, and the starters are a little bit behind.
Interesting. Okay, that is not the answer I thought we were going to get here. So we'll pull on that thread a little bit on the other side. Let's take another break. When we come back, we'll talk about the Jokic-Valanciunas minutes. We'll talk about a little bit more of the bench, and then some additional three-pointers were attempted here on Locked On Nuggets. All right, folks, let's talk about FanDuel. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer that you do not want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. London games are weird. Broncos fans, I know, were a little bit concerned. I was a little bit concerned when I woke up this morning and saw that they had punted as many times as they did. But you know that, hey, at 4-2, seems like that division odds, they're looking a lot better. It'll be interesting to see whether they can hold off that Kansas City team at this point. We'll see whether they can do that. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. And we are also brought to you by Monarch. As I make sure to put up where did it go? There it is. This podcast is brought to you by Monarch Money. Most people can't name all of their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's why there's Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. Monarch is built for people with busy lives. If you've put off organizing your finances, Monarch is for you. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you. You can link all of your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. It also really helps you notice any surprises that you've had in your account before. I personally had a major surprise in my account that I knew I needed to check. Monarch Money identified it very quickly, and I got it done perfectly easily. It's really, really easy. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONNBA. We'll be right back on Locked On Nuggets. All right, final segment. Thank you so much for tuning into the show, folks. Okay, we got the Murray stagger. Peyton Watson looked good. Jonas-Valanciunas looked good. Looked so good, in fact, that the Nuggets decided, hey, let's keep him on the floor. We're going to see what he looks like with Jokic. And I was pretty impressed with the minutes that they were able to put together. They generated good shots every single time down the floor, Matt. Went to the zone, as we talked about. Jokic doesn't necessarily look super comfortable in a zone. He's never going to look comfortable in a zone, especially on the perimeter. But I did really like what I saw from the offense, and it just seems like they can play bully ball against the right lineups.
I agree with I totally agree with how it felt. 4 points on 5 possessions is the numbers on that. And it's like, it's preseason, so who cares? What I liked about it was when they deployed it, like, this stuff isn't on scouting reports yet. And that will very rarely be that will never be first page. It'll be like second or third. Like, you have to actually do the work on it.
Yeah.
The Clippers were freaked out.
Yes.
They ran Jokic at the free throw line and Jonas in the post. And the Clippers were like, how do we guard this? Like, what do we do? And I will say, one of the things I really loved about it was there was a rebound sequence where you could tell the Clippers the Clippers know that one of the things that they can do is, like, Zoo is able to actually get tap backs against Jokic, which very few players can do. But with Jokic and Jonas there, it was like bat, 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 bat. And, like, you could just tell the Clippers were like, well, there's zero chance for us to get this rebound. Like, we are not getting this rebound. So I thought that was really good. They generated like an open 3 for Peyton Watson that he just missed. They generated like a lot of really good stuff. I thought one of the sequences with like Julian Strother on a cut trying against Val, who was like hanging out into the rim. Like, that's not a shot you should take. I want to on Tuesday's episode, I do want to talk about how they're using split cuts to the middle, because they are generating killer stuff out of that. They're getting wide open corner threes every single time on it.
Yeah.
They did it. They've done it in all 3 games. And every time I'm like, ooh, they did it again tonight. I think it's a weapon you can use. I always wonder with the 2 big lineups is, should you use it against small lineups to hurt them or against big lineups to counter them? That match is always really interesting. I personally think they should use it against the Thunder. I think they should go out and they should be like, we are going to break you. Oh, you want to put Caruso on Yoke? Okay. Cool. Here's JV in the post versus
Chet. It would be Chet. Like those, I was actually talking about this with Adam on just a couple days ago when Nuggets were practicing, and he brought up that exact concept where, like, you just want to make sure that, like, if you have lineups where the Thunder decide they want to go small, they're trying to funnel you into the middle, and like obviously Chet is wanting to rotate over and provide rim protection and help defense and things like that. Imagine trying to help when you've got Jonas-Valanciunas on your back as well. Like, it's just a little bit different when you're doing that versus whether it's Aaron Gordon or if it's Michael Porter or if it's Cam Johnson or any of these other smaller guys, or if it's Christian Brown, for example, or a non-shooter like a Russell Westbrook type. Like, that is just how other teams decided to guard Denver, and you make it a lot more complicated when you have 2 ginormous human beings in the middle of the floor against your undersized unit. Now, Denver's going to give up a lot of points. There's no doubt about that. But I do like it. It's just fun. It's interesting. It gives them a little bit of a different look, and it's nice to get another guy that they can trust coming off the bench.
Can we get some of the fringe guys?
Sure. Yeah. Who specifically is gnawing at you?
What is the value of Zeke Naji playing?
Well, let me paint a picture for you. Zeke Naji plays well in a small role for Denver, shows that he can shoot, shows that he can rebound, shows that he can switch, shows that he can do some things on the defensive end. And then a team decides $8 million is not that bad. It's not that bad. We can stomach that. And then that's when you move Zeke Naji's contract. But in terms of what it's going to help Denver for in the playoffs, I don't really have much for you.
3 rebounds, an assist, and a steal tonight for Zeke. +9. Got that going for him. 0 4
Curtis Jones bump.
Yeah, 0 4 from the field. Curtis Jones was great. We talked about the Deron Holmes thing, and I kind of mentioned like all the practice stuff. Like I can't sit here and be like, even with all that stuff, that Zeke should be in a better spot. There's been no indication that Zeke's like practicing better or really showing maturity, or like there's like no indication of any of that. There's just not. And I think it's if you have something you can find in De'Ron Holmes, as much as I think the practice stuff matters and knowing where you're at matters, I don't think there's a higher level of confidence from the starters in Zeke than there is in De'Ron or the vet guys. So I don't mean to kill him, and I hope that kid can turn his career around. I really do. But I am concerned that he's going to be closer to the rotation than I think he should be to start the year.
Personally, like a lot of what Spencer Jones did. Like his defense has been
he's a dog, man.
Amazing.
He's a dog.
Like just having another guy that can press full court and can be physical and athletic and force other people to work really hard when going up against him is something that matters. Again, he had another game where, hey, let's check the line on Spencer Jones. 0 of 0.
I think he's really trying not to get in the way, because he's in a spot as a two-way player that the biggest thing that you do not want to do is go out there and look like you're playing for yourself.
Sure.
But the problem is just like he's taking it too far.
Yeah.
And also I do think like he's playing with lineups where the ball's just not finding him, like in those in-shot opportunities. I'm not saying it's like you need to get like let Spencer cook. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying like he's not playing in those minutes like 950 where he's finding an opportunity to be able to get a shot up. And he's not somebody that's going to really do it. One guy that we haven't talked about that we really got to talk about. Like you said, Christian is the most impressive. Christian's been basically like what I thought. He's shooting the ball well in preseason. Peyton Watson.
Dog.
Peyton Watson. Like he looks like another level of player. And we talked about this last year with MPJ, where it's like he's leveled up. And then he did. And then he ran out of injury and out of energy. And then he got hurt. And then everything spiraled. And then he couldn't lift his shoulder over his head. And then he did some weird podcasts. But like Peyton Watson has been amazing. I just think he's been so good and so much more versatile and looks like way more of a complete player than I was expecting coming into this season. And I think that's really optimistic.
It's awesome. I love what I've seen from him. And the pass that he had over his head to Valanciunas, he drew Kawhi and Brook Lopez to him on a drive and then dumped it off to Jonas Valanciunas for a wide open layup. Like, dude is playing out of his mind right now. He made a quick three on the right wing, just no hesitation at all. Missed the one on the left wing, but who cares? Like, you're not going to go 100%. And he just looks like he's flying in for rebounds. It didn't have as many tonight, but like I keep seeing him around the ball doing positive stuff. And it seems like he's more confident. And also, like, he's done everything the Nuggets have asked him to do, man. Like, he is buying into the defensive side of things. He's like really worked on his game. He's done everything. He stayed around Denver for half of the year, like half of the offseason. He's been around. He's done everything that they should do. I just think that they should pay him and be done with it. Like, if they could get a contract done with him, he's going to outperform it.
After what I saw this summer, no, they shouldn't pay it. They should not pay anybody. Like, I'm just like, squeeze them all. Although like, it doesn't matter. You just wind up giving him 25, 30 million anyway.
Yeah. Josh
Giddey.
I
mean, I just think I understand where you're coming from on this. I just don't know. It's, I think there's value in doing what you can to gain whatever value you can under the apron. On Tuesday, let's have a whole discussion about the 3-point thing. Let's like really get into that, and we can go deep then on that element of it.
Agreed. It's unfortunate we ran out of time here, but I do want to get to it. Like Denver, like you said, they attempted 42 threes. That is different, and we do have to talk about it because Denver's always been such a low volume 3-point shooting team. So what is it going to look like? We will see what happens. But folks, that is going to do it for this episode of Locked On Nuggets. Thank you so much for tuning into the show. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button on the way out. Denver plays their next preseason game on Tuesday. We'll be back after then.